Hey, Joseph.
Hi, I'm Joseph Trulson, as you all know.
Yeah, I'm Elijah. We were in Boston, and then Joseph drove 17 hours, and now we're in Nashville. So we're here to what are we here to talk about again?
As the course says, I'm creating my Elite Chess account, Roaring with Elijah, the Semi-Slav. So that's one of your favorite openings, so let's get into it.
Yeah, okay, so what do you want to start with?
I want to have the control.
Yeah,
I want to start with what the Semi-Slav is.
Okay.
So for those of you that are wondering, the Semi-Slav is sort of like the Slavs. You can reach it through different move orders.
I prefer the Slav move order with c6.
So I guess we'll play that on the board for now. And so what happens is, well, I guess white moves one of their knights because white likes moving a knight. Well, we'll take this one, I guess.
Knight c3.
Yeah.
Threatening the Marshall Gambit after e6, which I very much don't like to play for black.
So black plays knight f6 and prevents it.
Although Joseph does like the Marshall. Maybe we'll talk about that another time.
So it depends what I guess the general ideas are, though, right? White tries to be annoying, and black is what, trying to be super solid.
Well, white wants to target the d5 pawn. So if black brings the bishop outside the pawn chain with bishop f5, then queen b3 would be an idea, targeting both d5 and b7. So black usually locks his bishop inside to keep his pawn safe, and then he'll free it later.
That's true. Oh wait, and that is also true.
Yeah, it is. Oh shoot, we gotta flip the board again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so that's why black will play e6. But what would you say though? After black will develop slowly, sometimes he can actually get some decent positions, right? He can start his own evil attacks.
Yeah, mostly he just wants to take the c4 pawn. So let's put it on the board.
Well, let's see. Are we gonna let's look at this then?
Knight f3.
Right. Yep, e6. And so now white has a lot of choices to make. But I think most of them they're lazy, right? So they usually a lot of lazy players. Well,
that's because they defend their pawn. Yeah. Black wants to play d takes c4 and b5.
Yeah, there's the lazy approach of keeping the pawn, and then there's the crazy approach. Let's go with the crazy approach.
Well, the crazy approach allows you to take c4, so let's look at that. Bishop g5, you take c4.
So you don't like playing h6 first?
Well, you can look at h6 first. I do like the Botvinnik with d takes c4.
Immediately?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? That's crazier. So black keeps the pawn. He wants to play b5, even if it means sacrificing.
Yep. So we defend it. Yep.
Let's imagine white plays really slowly. Like let's say he played g3 instead of bishop g5. Well, the general setup is bishop e7, knight bd7, bishop e7, and later c5. Can you error that?
If we're gonna go back.
No, here.
You said if g3 is played.
So I just mean the general. Yeah, like let's say g3 just to show. Well, the general setup I've noticed most club players when I win the pawn just let me keep it. With the sort of setup, bishop e7, knight bd7, a6, c5, and I'll develop my pieces. It's like, well, I have my extra pawn. So that's the general point, and so with all this development and the pawn on c6 preparing b5, this is a legitimate threat. And so white either has to get really aggressive or block his bishop inside the pawn chain, which keeps the pawn protected.
Yeah.
So going back...
Just as I taught you, that's correct. So instead, yeah, in this position, same thing. Black defends the pawn, in case those of you that don't know how pawns move. And so now white says, I win your knight. And black says, oh, well, I guess I better play a different opening.
Well, no, he plays h6.
Maybe not, yeah.
Here,
He brilliantly attacks the bishop. Brutally.
Here, can I take over because the Botvinnik is my specialty? We'll go for the h6 lines later.
It's my specialty. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, maybe both.
I understand everything.
So...
He's just joking.
These are sort of crazy.
Yeah, you can keep on.
g3.
Whose YouTube channel is this on?
Who knows? So this is...
Are we going to make this another double upload? No, we're not.
Probably, I don't know, probably. So this is like just some sort of crazy line. So both sides are confused. Black is underdeveloped and has lots of open files. White has lots of development and no open files. And there's all sorts of ideas. It's really confusing. And white doesn't always want to allow this or other crazy lines like, I don't know, something like this. It's a little bit different. Black keeps the extra pawn, but there's compensation on both sides of the board with a5 and h4. So if he doesn't want to go for something so crazy, he tends to play e3 to protect his pawn.
And for those of you that are commenting in this video to get a free qualification credit, comment, Elijah, let Joseph talk. All right?
Okay, I'll let you talk now.
Oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh. That was a great description, but you didn't go far enough. You only went 15 moves deep. Okay, you actually went pretty well. That's one of the lines.
Well, if you want, I can go to...
Fortunately, some people are boring, and they're like, oh, no, I don't want to enter a dangerous line. So they say, I'm just going to defend my pawn, and I'll grind you up.
Okay.
But luckily, we don't have to do that. First, we develop, and then, well, oh, now there's more moves. So basically, one point is, you wait for this evil bishop to move before you take the pawn. So you basically gain the move for free, right? So basically, you laugh at this bishop with wasted time moving twice. It's sort of like you watching this video twice. It's a waste of time. You're going to do it anyways. And that's what we force white to do. So now we can even attack it, right? I guess you usually do that first, right? Just hurt the bishop's feelings.
So, Joseph, how relevant would you say white's central pawn majority is here?
Not very, because black has two pawns that can destroy the d4 pawn. So what black's going to do is he's going to make them into evil, angry eyes, and he's going to take those pawns, and then they're not going to be there anymore. And then once you trade these for those, then it's a draw, which is with a goal, right?
And the other point is maybe bishop b7, bishop d6, and point the bishops towards the king side?
That's correct. You know, you play c5, and the whole center means nothing.
Right, and so the problem with e6 earlier is that we block our light square bishop in, and this is usually how we solve that problem.
For example, that's right. The epic bishop is about to be unleashed, and white has made a big mistake in playing this whole setup. At least I think so. Take a look at the score here. That 56% draw is really victories for black. It's you know, not really. They didn't want to admit that. So what happens is, yep, now we can defend our pawns. We can play c5. The whole point is play c5, right? So white can try to get scary, but then we get more scary. And suffice to say, by the scores, black is better. Let's not look at the theory.
Okay, well, I can cover the theory another time. So, and yeah, I like the semi-slot. We get our active bishop pair, and we counterattack the center. It's really sharp, and if white wants to avoid all of this, he can play c takes d5, but then after e takes d5, black frees his bishop anyway and has no problems.
That sounds reasonable. That's correct. So white can try to be evil, right? But that doesn't really matter.
Well, it just doesn't matter because after g6, we can still play bishop f5.
Oh, that is pretty mean. Look at that evil score.
We could even play knight.
Black is getting a plus score. That is crazy.
We can even play knight a6 with knight b4 ideas.
I like that idea.
So,
and then we might even take their queen because they won't notice the threat.
One of the things I like about the semi-Slav is that white has no safe, slightly better options. If he tries to play it safe, black will like c takes d5, then he frees his light square bishop. If white plays passively, then black has easy development. Like let's just say a general setup against like really slow ideas, other than taking the pawn, is to play knight bd7, bishop d6, castles, and maybe e5 one day.
That's right, and that was all I meant to say also. But let's look at another exciting line. Wait, what should we look at? Yeah, too boring.
The anti-Moran's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, that's right. So sometimes white doesn't like playing the Moran, so he says he reverses the board and plays the anti-Moran. No, that's not how it works. Okay, so instead, that's the queen c2 below no skill, right?
Yeah.
So white is saying, take me so I can save a move. So all you do is you don't do that. And then white's whole concept is just silly. So they like b3, right? Yeah.
What about g4 here?
No, that's g4 is not played often enough to be worthy.
Okay, you can look at b3.
I don't. How dare you? Let's forget about that. But this is the whole point of Moran, right? Now you're defended with the pawn. Basically, yeah, they're gonna pretend to protect each other and have extra center squares. And this is supposedly dangerous, right? Bishop e2's main move. I didn't even know that. No, I knew all that. Look at all these draws though, and black winning all these games, and white never wins. Wait,
I think you're the only one who can see the database.
Oh wait, really? Oh, thank goodness. There weren't good scores. So anyways, the point of the answer, yeah, basically white defends everything, and we don't get to attack their center. Fortunately, that's not the case because we attack them anyways, right?
Sort of, yeah. So what?
Oh, e5. That's the idea now. It's like if we can't play c5, you play e5. Destruction.
Why don't you show me what a typical line could be?
Yes, thank you. Where's the engine? Why'd you turn the engine off? they can't see this, right? They can't see this, right? Okay, good. I know they can't. So, thanks for asking me, Elijah. I've learned a lot on this opening. I'm pleased to share my knowledge with you. Okay. So, I calculated 34 plies in the future, and I think the best move is the move b6. And the point of b6 is you're like bishop e7, queen e7, rook a c8, rook f d8. Wait, let me find some more moves. And then c5. See, the point is, with all your pieces in perfect places, you blow up the center, and soon after, you blow up the queen like atomic chess.
Exactly, and one of the other lessons is with the engine on, it's very easy to know what the right moves are. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree with that, but we might test that theory later.
Yeah, sounds good.
And if white castles, I mean, you know, he's just giving us all of our plans. So this is the problem with white. You know, white thinks, and white's playing really critical moves, but the problem is, it doesn't really matter, because slowly but surely, the position is going to be very equal, and if I imagine that I don't need anyone's help to figure out why. So what's going to happen is this is actually the setup black does. He copies white's rooks, then he opens the center, or he does this, and then it's equal. And then you draw, and that's the goal.
With slow play, white can't use his lead in development, and black will solve the problem of his light square bishop either through the e5 break or the c5 break.
And that's really what the anti-Moran's about. The semi-Slav's all about that, right? You make a central break, you play slowly, and you draw. If you're trying to win, well, you're probably not going to win against this setup. But actually, if you're playing bullet, it's very good. You get an equal position, and then you outplay your opponent, or more likely you flag them. But understand just how boring this is. This is how about as boring as chess can get. Now, you can blame your opponent, because if your opponent wanted a fun game, they would let you take the pawn and beat them. But sometimes when they're playing white, they have an opportunity to draw. And apparently, the anti-Moran's the way to do it, wouldn't you say?
Well,
it's very boring, isn't it? You know.
There might be other sharper ways to play, but at least black has the safe option, and it's pretty solid, I would say.
Yeah, I hate when white players just want to draw like this. It's really disappointing. So, what can we do?
Was there anything else you wanted to cover about the Semi-Slav?
Thank you, but I think this video is long enough. So we will also say if you want Elijah to come back for future videos, and then I guess like the video, comment, and rewatch the video. And if this video gets a bunch of views, then that will be an indication that you need him.
And remember, Joseph is the best.